Welcome back to the Aussie Shed, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Project Fairlady. So today, what I'm going to be doing is working in the front wheel arches. So let's get in there and have a bit of a look at what's going on. So after getting a whole heap of the front end components painted the other week, guys, I'm trying to get a heap of stuff up off the ground and off the shelves because I'm really lacking space here in the Aussie Shed currently, and it would just be great to get a few things up off the ground. I don't have all the components here to actually finish these front ends. The front coilovers have to be rebuilt and repainted, and I can't fit the lower control arms because they attach to the front chassis that's attached to the engine and yada yada yada. But once I get the front coilovers done, I can then get the hubs mounted, get them hung off this third member here, so that'll be the brakes and all that kind of stuff. You know, that should be a really good thing. So at this stage, what I'm doing here now is I'm mounting this third member piece that holds the kingpin assemblies and everything. And I'm at the point I'm just about to hang that, so I fitted this this mounting bracket here to the inside of the front guard, which is all painted up and everything now in KBS, and I've got all of the bracket all bolted in, and I'll just give you a rundown of all the torque specs, just as a quick reference, just in case you don't have access to them. These big bolts on the top here, they have those listed in the factory service manual as between 108 and 127 Newton meters. The lower ones down here, they're a smaller bolt. They're a 14mm head. They're a 17mm head. These smaller guys, they have them listed between 88 and 108 Newton meters. And I generally go right in the center of that and set my torque wrench up. You know, so that'll obviously be 98, right in the guts of that one. Now, this bolt that runs through here and holds the whole assembly together, torque spec on that is between 88 and 108. So again, 98 Newton meters is where that sits at. Same for this this one that runs across the front here. It'll be, you know, between 88 and 108. So again, 98 Newton meters. So yes, as I say, I've replaced the standard front upper control arms with these GK Tech items just to try and give me a little bit more adjustability in the front, just because I am going to be probably wanting to set up my own geometry and everything with the vehicle, just so I can try and get the most out of it with everything that will have been done to it. You can see I have got rubber boots over all of these heim joints on the end, being that they are a metal-to-metal component. Fairly sure they have a Teflon liner in them, so they should be pretty good. But it's always good to put boots on everything to try and keep all the dust out of it, particularly on a street vehicle that might see, you know, some kind of gritty, crappy road conditions. So I'll go and grab this third member and we'll slip that in, eh? Alright, hopefully I can get in here without too much of a bloody problem. I've got a camera and a light in my way, which is going to probably bug me up. Come on. Alright, I need to have a bit of a look at this. Doesn't want to go in. Alright, that seems to be about 1 mil over what we really need compared to the factory bushing. So obviously a very tight fit from the factory. Just make sure that all this is properly together. I'll just try and crank this together hard, just with a different nut on here that's going to go in all the way, because the factory nut that I was playing with there is a lock nut and gets really tight once you get to the end of the thread. So I might just crank that together. Make sure we don't have a bit of rubber or something stuck in there, or just the general alignment can possibly bug you up too if you're you know, if you're looking at only needing 1 mil or so. Anyway, I'll see if that's made any difference. Yeah, still literally not going to work. I've just measured the third member at the top where this goes in, and it's exactly 110 millimeters. And there's no way I've got the wrong bush in there, I don't think, because this one went together really well. I'll just check that and make sure I haven't accidentally put the wrong bush in the end here. So I know there were two of them. I think they might be the same though. I'll go back and have a look at that. But I think at this stage, I might have to take probably this bigger bush on this side, take it out and knock a mill off it on the lathe. We shall see. Alrighty, so I've just finished measuring everything and I have everything around the right way. This small spacer on either end are exactly the same size. There's no difference in that. The problem is the pack overall is too long. Now I've measured both sides, brackets here, I've measured the third member, and I've measured the fucker on both setups, and we need this to be 110. And that is, with that really cramped in as much as we could get it, it's almost 112. It's 111.7. So we need to take 1.7 millimeters off this guy here. Otherwise we're just not going to be able to get it in. Bloody hell. Don't get me wrong, GK Tech. All of your stuff looks really well designed and really robust. But pretty much everything that I've had to fit up, there's been problems like this. I don't know what the go is. Obviously these are made for R32s as well. Maybe there's a little minor difference between them. They do mention that some of the components are R32 and some are Z32. This is supposed to be all correct for Z32. You can't swap the sides. This side to the outside, this is definitely marked as the chassis side, and this is definitely marked as being for the third member end. It's really easy to tell the difference because you have this section with these gussets in it that goes, you know, against there. And this one actually has a spacer that's in the kit that you put in there. If you actually flip this around, this would actually fit in there without the spacer, and this would actually fit in the third member without needing machining. But it definitely says in the instructions that that is the chassis side, and it says this is really important. And like I say, they do supply a spacer for it. So I don't know what the go is, but I've definitely got to take 1.7 millimeters off this. I'm not prepared to just hammer and belt the shit out of this thing to get it all together and spread the top of the third member. It's just not on in my books, which is very frustrating considering if you have bought these units, and they do look like they will be very good. Once they're in service, don't get me wrong, they really look the business, but a simple thing like this sizing problem, and you know, maybe the third members vary in their size, I don't know, but you'd think they would, you know, have these machined down to the smaller size and then supply various spacers like they've done for that side up there. But it just means your average person who doesn't have a lathe in their workshop, you know, they're going to get to this point, and what do? Like attack it with an angle grinder? Or sand it down on the bench? Or, you know, it just creates real problems. Anyway, enough of me whinging. I'll get this turned down and then we'll come and try and refit it again. Hopefully we should be all good. Alright, I'll see you in a bit. Alrighty, well I'm back, fresh off the lathe. You can see the end's been cut there, 1.7 millimeters. This should go on exactly now with a little bit of a tight fit towards the end, I reckon. What do you do? Alright. Let's see what happens this time. Oh, will you look at that? It's snug, but it goes on. There we go. Will you look at that? Well, at least it's on there, guys. At least it's on there. That's just going to have to sit there for now like that until I get these shocks on, and the shock will support it off that guy right there. But for the time being, Actually, I might put a bit of rope or a bit of something on it just so it's not hanging down so much. But it's off the ground and off the shelf. It's not going to get damaged now, which is the main thing. Alright, thanks Mr. GK Tech. I'll be back with something else. Front coilovers are now on, guys. They're the original coilovers that came on the car. I have actually repainted the bodies, the springs, all the adjusters and everything. Fitted new dust seals, new bump stops, new top rubbers and all new hardware to them. Just because they were in quite poor cosmetic condition, but other than that they appear to be mechanically still absolutely fine. They have had the springs changed on them. They have King springs fitted to them, so somebody has dicked around with them a bit and done a bit of work tuning them, hopefully, on the vehicle, but I really won't know until I start driving the car once it's finished what they're actually going to be like. So they may actually get the flick pretty quickly, or I might keep them, just depending. But for now, I've got them, so I might as well put them on there and just see what they're like, you know. At least they keep the car in one piece while we're doing all the rest of the work on it. So what this also means is I'm able to fit the front hubs. So I might grab one of the front hubs out, which has the brake rotor and calipers and all that sort of stuff, which is a component that I rebuilt quite a while ago. They have all new bearings and everything like that in them. They've got an Akebono brake conversion done on them with 370Z backing discs and quite a bit of work involved in those guys. But anyway, if you're interested in seeing that video, I'll leave a link right there and you can check it out if you like. All right, I'll get these hubs on. And there it is, guys. So that's our 355mm brake rotor. That's a DBA 4000 series. New old stock for me. I've had a few of them sitting on the shelf for a few years. 370Z Akebono front brake caliper. So that completes the braking system to now be a full 370Z system on all four corners. As I mentioned, the hubs have been completely rebuilt. New wheel bearings, new wheel studs. The hubs themselves have been completely cleaned. It's it's a completely rebuilt unit, as you'd know, right back to the kingpins and the whole shebang. It's sitting a bit wonky at the moment because there's no lower control arm on there. Obviously, I can't really put the lower control arms on at the moment because I don't have an engine cross member in it. But you get the idea how it's all going to sort of look in the end. So I'm pretty bloody happy with that. First time fitting them up on the car. Awesome. Oh, and by the way, I'm not sure how this is going to come out on the video, but looking through the screen on the viewfinder, they look bloody pink. They're not. They're actually very, very red. So I don't know what's going on with the colours, whether it's just my viewfinder or whether they'll come out pink or red. But they're red. All right, guys. Well, that's about it for this video. I hope you're enjoying the rebuild of the Fairlady, particularly with all these front-end components and all that sort of stuff that we've rebuilt in previous videos. And remember, if you don't want to miss out on any updates or anything, to subscribe to the channel. And if you like the video, remember to give it a like, share it with your mates and all that sort of stuff. And as always, guys, I'll bloody well see you on the next one. Cheers.